So evening, my lovely yogis, begin sitting down or lying down. Get the words out. Wherever you want to start this evening. And let's just take a moment to check in with how we're feeling. We've all got things going on in our life from time to time that can sort of throw things up for us. And this is a time to sometimes maybe just sit with that, sometimes just allow our emotions to flow, because a lot of the time there's so many other distractions in our regular routine in life. So coming to our mat we have that ability to kind of just absorb everything, the good, the bad, the sad, the happy, and just be, literally just be and exist and be with ourselves. So let's just take a few moments. Let's breathe into our belly. Feel the breath move up into our chest. Maybe the shoulders lift a little. And as we exhale, we can just release a bit more. And just in your mind, just say to yourself as you breathe in and breathe out, I release my jaw. And then we breathe in and out. I release my shoulders. And we breathe in and out again, and I release myself. And taking a moment to root yourself down and ground. And begin to just notice now where you might be holding some tightness and tension, whether it's a physical thing or it's linked with an emotional or mental thing that's going on for you. Notice where you're holding it in your body, because quite often we do. It gets stuck. And then we move and breathe and we release. Perhaps it's in your back that you feel it, the muscles through the back, or joints, hips and knees, shoulders, neck, certainly. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down, just take a moment to come up to seated. Have a moment to rock, there's no hurry. If you're already seated, you can just roll the shoulders. Notice what you're feeling. So before we come into meditation, there's something I want to show you and share with you. Now, I can't claim this for myself. I actually saw another yoga teacher do this, and it was really, really interesting, actually. She called it the magic neck stretch. Okay, so I'm going to do this with you because it's quite intriguing. I simply want you to just turn your head to the right and just take the opportunity to notice how far you can see, or sort of the position that you feel that your neck is in. And just bring the head back round to the front. Bring your left arm in front and then your right arm in top, like you're a genie, just about to grant a wish. And then what we're going to do about 4 or 5 times is take the arms to the side. Keep the chest forward and just bring the arms to the side and then back to the front. Left side and front. Left side, front. One more time. And then release the hands down. And now take your head again to the right. And notice how much more you can look round. I bet you can. It's quite magical, isn't it? You see how much further your head can go. So just come back round to the front. I'm going to do it the other side. Have the opportunity just to look left, just as much as it feels comfortable to, and where you feel like you reach, and really kind of clock where you notice this movement. Head back round to the front. Right arm in front, left one over the top, and we're going to move the arms in the opposite ways. So to the right and back. Keep the chest forward. Right and back. Just twice more. And one more time. And then just rest the arms back down and look again to your left. And just see how much further your gaze goes, or the twist of your neck. It's fun, isn't it? That's really quite amazing. I'll ask you after class how that felt for you. But it was quite magical. And so I thought I'd share it, especially with the next couple of classes that I haven't seen people in. So it just shows you that little stretch, and we can look a bit further. So we're going to come into meditation. I'm going to go quiet now, and we're just going to sit with our breath. You can bring a mantra into this if you wish, or you can just simply be. I like the idea of perhaps just simply being, following the breath. The mind will go off, but just be conscious of it. Draw it back to the breath when you can. There's no agenda. We're just going to be with who we are, which is quite a nice way of just accepting a practice. So start to relax. Relax the jaw. Relax your face. Shoulders, body, and lower body. Tune into the belly breaths. And just stay with feeling the breath in the nose for as long as you can, until the mind will wander. Notice if your mind has already taken on a thought. Just be conscious of the thought and come back to the breath. Keep relaxed. Relax the hands. Just come back to the breath if the mind is wandering. Just finding the gap between your thoughts. And we'll just gently bring ourselves back, noticing whether you were able to be in that gap between thoughts, just thinking about the fact that you were even there before a thought kind of just takes you off unconsciously. It's quite curious to know when you're conscious of your thoughts and then when you're not as well. So slipping off cushions if you've on one, and we're going to begin with dragonfly, so a nice inner leg stretch today. So I would say that we're coming into spring, just about, blossom on the trees, and spring is linked with our liver. The liver and the gallbladder channels, that liver runs on the inside of our legs, gallbladder is on the outside. So, and the element is wood. So let's just gently come into this posture, relaxing toes and ankles, noticing that initial tightness through the legs and gently softening. And then gradually we can explore how we feel through the back of the body. Relaxing the backs of your knees and just checking in with whether your toes start to sort of point and tense. Relaxing your face. Maybe softening through the shoulders a bit more and the head and neck. The liver is very linked with the negative emotion, anger. And we're also working with the kidney channel that runs on the inner legs as well, which can be very linked with our fear. So if we're holding anger and fear, then it can disrupt the flow in these channels and to the organs. Keep releasing and maybe progressing into the pose if it feels right. And noticing your feelings and emotions that come up. No need to analyze them, just feel. So we'll take a few breaths and just enjoying wherever we've ended up here, and lifting up slowly, feeling the lovely release on our inner thighs, perhaps a softening through our spine, and we'll come into neutral. Where do you feel it most? Is it sort of the inner thighs, backs of the knees? Just notice. And lying down, just letting everything roll out and soften. Take your time to let everything relax. Where are you still holding some tightness, perhaps? And then gradually it feels a little bit easier. Finding any coolness in the feet or thighs. And then when you're ready, let's draw the knees in, nice little hug. We're going to come up into seal. So where we've taken the body forward, it's nice just to counter pose and come into the lower back in the opposite direction. So when you're ready, roll up. You can make this a nice, supportive and nurturing pose this evening though. I often like to use a pillow just to sort of rest the lower part of the chest on and coming here. If you've got a block, that's nice to start perhaps upright, and then you can lower it down as if you want to. Try and relax. When we first come into this pose, there might be quite a bit of tension around that the lumbar vertebrae. Try and relax your legs. Let the heels roll inwards if that's how they naturally fall. And if you need to take the elbows out wide and bring the chest a bit lower because of the back, then please do whatever feels right. And then some nice deep belly breaths. And really start to check in with what tension you might be holding in the back of your neck. You might want to move your block round if you're using one. How relaxed do you feel here, or is there still a little bit of tension that you can't quite get rid of? Perhaps it doesn't feel safe enough to get rid of it. As you breathe, can you feel the lower back really moving? What do you notice in this pose this evening? What new revelation or feeling or thought has come up for you? Every time we come into a pose, it's an opportunity to explore our inner self in some way. What's the essence of this pose for you this evening? Is it quite relaxed and forgiving and going with the flow with all sensations, or is there a little bit of resistance and impatience or tightness and tension that reflects in the body? Our body often holds how we're feeling, way down to a cellular memory. So let's take a breath. Gently come out. And as you lift up, if you want to take a moment to come back into a bit of a child's pose before you then come onto neutral in the mat, and just moving however you need to. It's nice to come out of the poses quite slowly so you can really feel what's going on. And there's no rush, we can just lie down, take our time here. If we rush through this neutral pose where we get all the juiciness after the squeeze, then we miss out on how our body is responding. Nice deep breath, relax, let everything start to melt. And as you breathe to the belly, it's nice and calming for the body, the mind. So we'll bring our knees in. The next pose is twisted roots. I'm going to use a couple of cushions, one for the knee and one for the opposite shoulder. So if you just want to grab your bits, it's always nice to have them handy. Nothing worse than getting into a pose and thinking, oh, I really could have done with another cushion or support. So we'll start with the knee cushion to the right and then the shoulder cushion to the left. Lying down, we'll start with the left leg coming over our right knee, dropping ourselves over to this right hand side and then cushion for the left shoulder. Get as comfortable as you can. You'll relax even more when you just start off comfortably. If you need something under your right hip, like another little bit of blanket for padding, then take the opportunity now just to get as comfortable as you can. And relax. Start by releasing the tension in the inner thighs and around the groin. And then gradually your sort of the lower legs and feet will find their place. Relax buttocks, lower back, any tension around the waist. And as you check in with the head and neck and shoulders, just keep adjusting to the point where you can just relax the most. How surrendered to this pose do you feel this evening? Perhaps all to the head and the tilt of the chin. And when you feel really settled, bring your awareness to your breath. Just gently loosen those muscles in your face. Keep checking for any tension. How does it feel in this twist today? Is it much needed? Or are you still a little bit tense in places? So we'll take another few breaths. And gently just unravel yourself back into neutral. And just explore what you feel. Nice sigh. Where do you most feel any after effect from the twist? And then hug in. As we do this, we can be a little bit curious as to how the other side's going to feel, whether we'll relax into it as quickly as the first side. So just swap your cushions over to the opposite sides. Cushion for the knees on the left and shoulder up on the right. And then bring the legs over, right over left. And then either roll over or lift the body and turn. And then just taking a moment to position that shoulder cushion if that's what you feel you'd like to use. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But this evening I feel like it's going to be far more comfortable with it. So relaxing buttocks, inner thighs, down through to the lower legs. Tuning into the breath. What do you feel? Where do you feel it? And just noticing if you're tight in your abdominal muscles, in the lower belly, is there a resistance there? Relaxing face and head, and maybe just a slight alteration will relax a bit more. What's going through your mind? Could you catch that last thought? Can you return to your breath and just enjoy following the breath for a while? And just following where the breath moves in the body. What does this pose reveal to you about yourself this evening? You never know, you might have just a little insight come to mind. So with one more breath, we'll gradually untwist, nice and slowly, being careful how we place our spine back down. And sometimes I feel when we come into neutral, you can really feel more than you necessarily thought you'd feel in the pose. So just enjoying being in your body. Checking in with the prana and chi flow. And then hugging in. If you can grab your 2 blocks, we're going to come into heart bench. If for whatever reason this evening heart bench, it doesn't suit you, then I'll always offer you bench where we just lie back over, where we pop the cushion behind us. So choose where you want to be, whether you want to use your blocks or come into a sort of a softer version. I like to leave that up to you, just so that you can decide what your energy is or how your body responds to that, the idea of the feeling. So with heart bench, we'll just lower back over this block that's behind the heart, aligning with the spine, and then resting the back of the head on the other block. Takes a few moments just to find the right spot where you can start to soften. And then after a while, you get really used to it. When you first come into this pose, it feels like perhaps you'll never get used to this feeling, but after about 4 or 5 minutes, you do. And just relaxing the arms where they're comfortable. Close the eyes. You can just draw the chin in. Open up the back of the neck. And this pose really invites us to breathe into our belly and feel the movement in our chest. Anything that is linked with our heart, whether it be physical and emotional link or anything mentally linked with our heart, this is a lovely pose. If we are feeling half-hearted, broken-hearted, downhearted, all these expressions that we have linked with the heart energy and describing our emotions. This lovely pose opens us to give and receive. So just check in with your thoughts. Be the witness. Are you feeling your feelings, or are you thinking your feelings? Are you thinking your thoughts, or are your thoughts thinking you? All these little questions that we can pose to ourselves. How does this pose feel? Have we softened into it? Have we moulded to the block? And one last breath here. Very gently lifting the head, using your arms and elbows to support, lifting up, engage the belly. And then meet me in neutral pose. Hopefully enjoying that feeling afterwards. Lovely stretch. Relief of perhaps any tension that you were feeling in the upper back or between the shoulder blades. And then we're going to come into banana, but if you want to just bring the knees in for a moment, take a moment to enjoy a nice little rock between the poses. Just relieve anything in the lower back that you need to, or upper back. And then bringing the legs back down. We'll start always by coming over to the right hand side. So feet to the right, and right foot comes over the left. And then we will just shuffle the shoulders up to the right hand side. Just have a moment to sort of release through the buttocks so that you're comfortable. And we'll just do a few minutes each side here. Arms wherever you want them, above the head, cactus arms, which might be quite nice for a few breaths. And then maybe down by the side of the body, more relaxing. Lovely stretch to the left side, Ida, the feminine side. And again, this stimulates the energy that flows through our gallbladder. Relax your buttocks and lower back, and just notice if there's more tensing than necessary in the sides of your waist. Relax shoulders, face. If the pose feels a little bit too soft, then you can always move into it more. Or you can swap your feet over. If you swap the legs, the stretch deepens. keep looking for tension. And then we'll just come back to centre. Take a few moments here. Just moving those feet and shoulders back in alignment. Can you feel a tingliness through your left side? Maybe around the ribs. Notice whatever you're feeling. And then we'll just come straight over to the other side, left side. So feet lower left, left foot comes over the right ankle if you want it easier. And then shoulders to top left and releasing any tightness through the buttocks. Choose where you want your arms. And then relaxing the abdominal muscles and the sides of your waist. Soften the buttocks. Notice if there's tension even in the lower arms and wrists. Just becoming as passive as you can. Nice deep breaths. And relax. Just following that last thought. Noticing if you were even aware of your thought. With one more breath. We will gently move into neutral. And before we relax, just take this opportunity to observe the after effects of that pose. Whatever you're feeling through the right hand side, Pingala, the masculine aspect. And then if you want to come to seated, you can. And if you want to remain lying down with a blanket over you, please do. So time to get cozy and comfy. Noticing how your body is feeling and how your mind feels. Let's take a card. Tune into whether you need any guidance or maybe just a general bit of advice. It's nice just to pick one out at random. Oceana. Let's take a moment to focus. This one says, take action. You're in touch with your truth in this situation, and you need to trust your gut and lovingly assert yourself. So dive right in. There is no need for more research or time. You can trust your feelings on this one. I will guide you through the actions that are necessary considering the circumstances. Your main concern is to avoid procrastination at all costs. Break the situation down into small steps so that you don't become overwhelmed, and then take those steps in regular intervals. You already know what to do about the situation, and you have made up your mind to take action. I'm here to validate that your decision is on the right path of light. Although there might be some temporary hard work or some emotional turmoil, this will soon be replaced by the lightness of spirit akin to gently floating on a summer's breeze. Sometimes you may feel too emotional or tired to take action. That is because you're unsure of the correctness of your decisions. Usually, unfounded guilt is the culprit that is draining your energy and happiness. This is when it is very important to call upon the angels to shore up your faith. Notice how the doors open smoothly with each step you take. That is one more sign that you're taking the best course of action. So I will leave that with you, that little thought, that if you are considering a certain direction or certain thing, then you're on the right path, and to take it forward. No more delays or procrastination. Just have the last few minutes resting, breathing, being open to whatever inspiration comes your way. As you lie or sit there now, just take a few moments to simply breathe. Feel the breath move the body. And that beautiful breath, that pranayama, when we control and we're conscious, has that powerful ability to shift the blockages that we hold within us. Everything starts to be more free-flowing again. That's why we feel so good after yoga. Can't always put words to it, but we just know how we feel. So as you lie there, just now hug your knees in. Have a lovely stretch. Notice how that feels as you rock. And if you're seated and you just want to roll the shoulders and gently move the head. And then you can just, in your own time, join me seated. Take a lovely deep breath in, another one. Nice sigh. And then joining hands at heart. Om Shanti. Namaste.